Hello Golden State Warriors fans, we are here once again to bring you the latest news related to our team, and I would like to emphasize how committed we are to improving our performance to achieve great results. Before we dive into this intriguing news, I kindly request you to show your support by clicking the like button, and if you are not yet subscribed to our channel, I invite you all to join us on an exciting journey. Remember to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything.
Golden State Warriors weigh trade options as championship window with Curry and Green begins to narrow. The Golden State Warriors are facing a critical moment. Their championship window, built around the legendary Stephen Curry, the tenacious Draymond Green, and the recently added Jimmy Butler, is shrinking fast. Yet, the franchise seems hesitant to go all in on this core. As long as Stephen Curry is playing at an elite level, the Warriors remain in the title conversation. But after a second-round playoff exit this season, the front office knows time is no longer on their side. Their hope? That a full off-season and a healthy Jimmy Butler can reignite their championship ambitions. With Curry, Green, and Butler all in their mid-30s, the Warriors are clearly running out of time. Still, the organization has been reluctant to sacrifice valuable future assets for short-term gain. They hold a treasure trove of draft picks, 2027, 2028, 2029, 2031, and 2032 first-rounders, plus a potentially tradable 2026 pick, but seem unwilling to risk the long-term future for one last run. Realistically, this trio likely has 2 elite seasons left. After that, a rebuild becomes inevitable. To be fair, the Warriors' run has already been a massive success, for championships and a sustained era of excellence. But the road ahead looks bumpy. Once this era ends, the team may find itself staring at several losing seasons and a full-scale rebuild. That's why those future draft picks are so precious. They could be the key to landing the next franchise cornerstone. We're probably more protective of those picks than most teams, GM Mike Dunleavy Jr. told Tim Kawakami. Because not knowing what our roster will look like in a few years, that uncertainty makes those picks more dangerous for us. While they're more valuable in the market, we have to be cautious. Other teams understand this too. Golden State's future picks are more attractive than those of rising squads like the Spurs or Rockets. Everyone knows that once Curry and company retire, the Warriors could be back in the lottery, and that makes their picks gold. Since Kevin Durant's departure, the Warriors have worked tirelessly to build another contender around Curry. It paid off in 2022 with a 4th title. But Andrew Wiggins has never quite recaptured that form, and it's clear that Curry needs a true co-star. Enter Jimmy Butler. With Butler in the lineup, the Warriors went 23-7 across the regular season and playoffs. But a late injury to Curry derailed their postseason run. If they can keep Curry, Butler, and Green healthy, this team can absolutely contend, even in a loaded Western Conference. That said, health is no guarantee. With an aging core, the margin for error is razor thin. If the trio stays on the court, there may be no need to trade. But if injuries mount, no deadline deal will be enough to salvage the season. That's why Dunleavy's caution makes sense. It's a high-stakes balancing act between chasing one more ring and protecting the franchise's future. Warriors make strategic draft moves, but all eyes remain on their championship ambitions. Coming out of the 2025 NBA draft, the Golden State Warriors demonstrated a careful balance between short-term goals and long-term planning. Rather than keeping their No. 41 overall pick, the front office made a calculated move, trading down to acquire 2 later picks, numbers 52 and 56, selecting Australian forward Alex Chewy and Florida's Will Richard. Both prospects offer strong two-way potential and align with the team's vision of developing contributors who fit alongside veterans without inflating the payroll. This move highlights the franchise's growing emphasis on maintaining salary cap flexibility, especially with significant financial commitments already made to Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and Jimmy Butler. General Manager Mike Dunleavy Jr. has made it clear that the team values its draft capital more than most, knowing that once their aging stars decline, those picks will become the foundation for the next era. Kuminga's future adds pressure. A major storyline to monitor is Jonathan Kuminga's future. Entering restricted free agency, the young forward has expressed a desire for a bigger offensive role, one the Warriors may not be able to provide. The front office now faces a tough decision: retain Kuminga with a new contract, explore sign-and-trade options, or risk losing him altogether. His development and discontent could heavily influence the team's direction this off-season. Trade market activity and speculation. Trade rumors continue to swirl around the Warriors as they explore deals to bolster the roster. With Jimmy Butler already in place and the core aging, Golden State has been linked to potential deals involving veteran role players and impact big men. The team holds a protected 2025 first-round pick, as well as multiple future assets, but remains cautious about overcommitting unless the deal clearly moves the needle toward contention. Names like Mark Williams from the Charlotte Hornets have surfaced, and while a blockbuster trade isn't imminent, the Warriors are keeping their options open. They are walking a fine line, strengthening the team now without mortgaging their ability to rebuild in a few years. Health, the X factor. Ultimately, the Warriors' chances of returning to the finals rest heavily on health. Curry, Green, and Butler are still capable of playing elite basketball, but the reality of their age means any injury could derail the season. The front office knows that if the team stays healthy, there may be no need for drastic changes. But if injuries strike early, even a major trade may not be enough to salvage the season. Balancing present and future. Media voices and fans alike are divided. Some analysts argue Golden State should commit to a youth movement, trading veterans to build around players like Brandon Podziemski and Moses Moody. Others believe that as long as Curry is still elite, every resource should be used to chase one last title. The front office appears to be choosing a middle path, one that keeps the team competitive now while safeguarding its long-term prospects. What comes next? The Warriors are expected to continue exploring the trade market through the summer, with particular interest in defensive-minded bigs and depth at the wing. At the same time, how they handle Kuminga's situation could define the offseason. The young forward's value around the league is rising, and how the team chooses to proceed will say a lot about their long-term plan. The decisions made over the next few months will shape not only the 2025-26 season but the next chapter of the franchise. Whether the Warriors can successfully navigate this delicate balancing act will determine if they can claim one more title, or start their rebuild sooner than expected. 3 potential destinations if LeBron James decides to leave the LA Lakers. LeBron James has officially committed to his 23rd NBA season, opting into his $52.6 million player option for the 2025-26 campaign. While this move confirms his return, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that he'll remain a Laker for the entire season. According to his agent Rich Paul, LeBron will continue to assess his situation carefully, still chasing championship glory as one of the league's oldest active stars. But his hefty contract poses serious salary cap challenges for the Lakers, severely limiting their flexibility to bring in impactful talent without facing steep luxury tax penalties. With those financial constraints, and LeBron's win-now mindset, the future of the King in Los Angeles remains uncertain. If he decides it's time for a change, here are 3 destinations that could make sense for both basketball and legacy. 1. A storybook return. Cleveland Cavaliers offer the perfect homecoming. A return to Ohio may be the most emotional and compelling option on the table. The Cavaliers have built a strong foundation and dominated the Eastern Conference regular season. Adding LeBron could push them over the edge into true championship contention. Of course, bringing him home wouldn't come cheap. Cleveland would likely need to part with key assets like Darius Garland, Max Strus, Jarrett Allen, or even DeAndre Hunter, along with valuable draft picks. A multi-team trade might be the most realistic way to make it happen while allowing the Cavs to keep their core intact. Pairing LeBron with Donovan Mitchell and rising star Evan Mobley would instantly create one of the league's most dangerous trios. And beyond basketball, there's undeniable emotional weight in LeBron potentially finishing his career where it all began. His deep ties to Ohio make Cleveland a powerful and poetic final chapter. 2. A super team dream. Golden State Warriors still lurking. The Warriors reportedly explored trading for LeBron back in early 2024, only to be turned down by the Lakers. But the idea never really died. And now, with shifting dynamics and growing pressure, the dream could become reality. Both LeBron and Stephen Curry have publicly expressed a desire to play together, not just for Team USA, but possibly in the NBA as well. Their mutual respect and championship pedigree could create one of the most iconic partnerships in league history. Financially, Golden State would need to make bold moves. A potential trade package could include Draymond Green, Buddy Hield, Moses Moody, and future picks. The biggest question, would the Warriors part ways with Green, a close friend of LeBron's and a core piece of their dynasty? If Draymond stays and the salaries align, this scenario becomes even more tantalizing. LeBron in a Warriors jersey, alongside Curry and Klay Thompson, could be the ultimate move to chase ring number 5 or 6. 3. Big stage, bigger opportunity. The Knicks are ready. Relocating to New York would mean leaving the sunny comforts of California, but the basketball opportunity in the Big Apple is worth the trade-off. The Knicks have quietly assembled a team built to compete in the East, and LeBron could be the missing piece that takes them from contenders to favorites. For a franchise hungry for its first title since 1973, adding a proven champion like LeBron could electrify both the locker room and the city. Even with Jalen Brunson already shining in the spotlight, there's more than enough room in New York for LeBron's presence. The media attention he commands in LA would seamlessly translate to the world's biggest stage. Trade-wise, the Knicks have plenty of options to entice the Lakers. Packages involving Karl-Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, or even combinations of Michael Bridges and Josh Hart. In return, LA could land a versatile big man or solidify its future post-LeBron. In terms of market, ambition, and legacy, New York checks all the boxes. In the end, LeBron's decision to stay for one more year doesn't close the book on movement. It may only be the beginning of a dramatic final act. Whether it's a heartfelt return to Cleveland, a championship superteam in the Bay, or a bold leap into New York spotlight, the next chapter of LeBron James' legendary career could be the most unforgettable yet. What this means for the Lakers. LeBron opting in is both a blessing and a burden for the Los Angeles Lakers. On one hand, having a generational talent and the face of the franchise return ensures continued relevance, media spotlight, and potential playoff runs. But on the other hand, his $52.6 million salary severely limits what the front office can do in free agency or on the trade market. The Lakers are caught in a tricky middle ground. They aren't quite good enough to be true title contenders, but also can't pivot toward a rebuild while LeBron is on the roster. The clock is ticking loudly, not just on James' career, but also on Anthony Davis, whose prime years shouldn't be wasted in mediocrity. This financial squeeze also increases pressure on GM Rob Pelinka and the Lakers front office to get creative. Could they move other contracts like Rui Hachimura or D'Angelo Russell to open cap space? Would they consider trading Austin Reeves if it meant acquiring a third star? The Lakers must now balance long-term sustainability with LeBron's short-term win-now urgency, a balance that gets harder by the day. Bronny's role and the family factor. One of the biggest variables in LeBron's decision-making this offseason has nothing to do with him, but everything to do with his son, Bronny James. Selected by the Lakers with the 55th pick in the 2024 NBA draft, Bronny's presence adds a deeply personal dimension to LeBron's future. The dream of playing alongside his son has been well documented for years, and now it's within reach. However, it remains to be seen whether Bronny will earn a spot in the Lakers' rotation, or even remain on the roster through the season. If LeBron feels the franchise isn't fully committing to his son's development, it could factor into a mid-season exit or off-season trade. On the flip side, if Bronny shows promise, it may be enough to convince LeBron to stay and guide his son's transition into the NBA. This narrative, the father-son duo making history, only amplifies the emotional stakes and media attention surrounding every move LeBron makes this year. Reactions around the league. The news of LeBron opting in immediately sent ripples across the NBA landscape. Rival executives are watching closely, curious whether the Lakers will use his opt-in as leverage in trade talks or if LeBron himself will request a move by the deadline. Fans in Cleveland are already buzzing with excitement, fantasizing about a third act in a Cavaliers jersey. Meanwhile, Warriors Twitter lit up with speculation, and Knicks fans, always hungry for a superstar, are clamoring for the front office to make a bold move. NBA insiders suggest that several teams have already made discreet inquiries about LeBron's availability. While the Lakers haven't publicly entertained any trade discussions, the reality is simple. If the right deal comes along, one that maintains competitiveness while planning for the post-LeBron era, they may be forced to listen. Legacy in motion. With over 20 seasons behind him, 4 championships, and a resume that's nearly unmatched, LeBron James has nothing left to prove, but still everything to play for. Every game, every decision from here on out adds to his legacy. Whether that next chapter is in Los Angeles, Cleveland, the Bay Area, or Madison Square Garden, one thing is certain. The eyes of the basketball world will be watching, and the final stretch of his storied career will be as captivating as any that came before. This isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about legacy, family, emotion, and the pursuit of the perfect ending. NBA free agency rumors. Timberwolves likely to lose key contributor plus latest on Lakers and Warriors. As the NBA free agency period officially kicks off in just over 24 hours, the buzz is already building. And no, LeBron James hinting at a possible trade request isn't the only headline making waves. From roster shakeups to behind-the-scenes negotiations, here's the latest intel from around the league as teams gear up for a potentially wild off-season. Timberwolves bracing to lose key role player. Let's start with a concrete development out of Minnesota. The Timberwolves have already secured significant deals with Naz Reid, 4 years, $125 million, and Julius Randle, 3 years, $100 million. But these big money contracts have effectively priced out one of their most valuable bench contributors, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Even before the ink dried on Randle's deal, many expected that the Wolves simply couldn't afford to retain NAW without blowing past the league's harsh second luxury tax apron. And now, that seems all but confirmed. According to John Krawczynski of The Athletic, a longtime Wolves insider, Alexander-Walker is headed toward free agency in search of a bigger payday. A reliable presence in back-to-back Western Conference Finals runs, NAW has become the kind of overqualified bench piece that, under the new CBA, contenders often have to reluctantly let go. On Sunday morning, NBA insider Mark Stein named the Detroit Pistons and Atlanta Hawks as the strongest suitors for Alexander-Walker's services. Is LeBron James quietly requesting a trade? LeBron James picking up his $52.6 million player option with the Lakers for next season wasn't exactly a surprise. But what was unexpected was the carefully worded statement from his agent, Rich Paul, who spoke with ESPN's Shams Charania. LeBron wants to compete for a championship. He understands the Lakers are building for the future, but he values a real shot at winning. We're thankful for the 8-year partnership with Jeanie, Buss, and Rob Pelinka. The Lakers are a major part of his legacy. This wasn't a direct trade request, but it doesn't take a reading between the lines to see what's really being said. LeBron wants to win now, and there's a growing sense that he doesn't believe the Lakers are on the same timeline. This could be his way of nudging the organization toward a graceful exit, one that preserves his image and allows the Lakers to part ways without public drama. For LA, facilitating a LeBron trade could actually be a blessing in disguise. It might free up the cap space and flexibility needed to build a future around Luka Doncic, who becomes eligible for a contract extension in early August. And from LeBron's side, opting in gives him leverage via his no-trade clause, ensuring he has a say in where he goes next. This might not be the end of the LeBron Lakers era just yet, but the writing appears to be on the wall. The only question left: who gets Bronny in the breakup? Lakers could be headed for a major roster reset. LeBron's potential departure isn't the only big change on the horizon for the Lakers. Forward Dorian Finney-Smith, a close friend of Doncic and a key rotation piece, declined his $15.4 million player option, making him one of the more intriguing veterans on the market. If both Finney-Smith and James leave, that's nearly $65 million in outgoing salary from last season's roster, signaling a significant reset. Any return package for LeBron likely won't provide immediate cap relief, but it could place the Lakers in a bridge year, a season spent reshaping the team around Luka and preparing for a new title run, rather than making a desperate push now. Heat show interest in Jonathan Kuminga. Warriors facing tough choices. Meanwhile, down in Miami, the Heat are showing interest in Warriors forward Jonathan Kuminga, according to the Miami Herald. This follows earlier reports from The Athletic that Miami could be exploring a trade for the former lottery pick. Golden State, however, still holds the cards. Kuminga is a restricted free agent, so the Warriors can match any offer. But Kuminga has options too. He could simply accept his $7.9 million qualifying offer and become an unrestricted free agent next summer, giving him the freedom to choose his next destination. Elsewhere in the Bay, it's looking unlikely that Gary Payton II will return. NBC Sports' Monty Poole reported that the Warriors are leaning toward letting the 2022 champion walk, as they prioritize flexibility and younger talent like Kuminga. As Joe Viray noted for Golden State of Mind, Payton's departure would sting. He brings energy, elite athleticism, and veteran savvy. But his injury history and inconsistency have made it tough for the team to commit long-term, especially with other roster needs looming. When does NBA free agency start? The action officially begins tomorrow, June 30th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, when free agents are allowed to negotiate with teams. However, contracts can't be signed until July 6th, giving everyone a few days to weigh offers, explore options, and let the off-season dominoes start to fall. So buckle up, because this year's NBA free agency window could bring seismic changes across the league. Inside the Timberwolves, ownership shifts and strategic repositioning. The Timberwolves' off-season decisions go far beyond Nickeil Alexander-Walker's likely departure. Behind the scenes, a major power shift is taking place, with Mark Law and Alex Rodriguez finalizing their takeover of the franchise. Their long-term vision appears focused on sustained competitiveness around rising superstar Anthony Edwards. After trading Karl-Anthony Towns to the Knicks and bringing in Julius Randle, who quickly signed a 3-year, $100 million extension, Minnesota is reshaping its identity. Pairing Randall with Naz Reid, who inked a 5-year, $125 million deal, signals the team's commitment to size, versatility, and defensive toughness. The unfortunate downside is letting go of depth pieces like Alexander Walker, who became a fan favorite during the team's back-to-back conference finals appearances. Still, the Wolves are betting that a streamlined core will position them as perennial contenders in the West, despite the financial constraints imposed by the new collective